How to win upcoming OP-07 event. Let me help you with this topic. But first, short information about the event and the rules. What is a pre-release? It's an event that happens 1 week before each new set release. This time it's for OP-07 500 years in the future. What are the rules? During the event you will receive 6 OP-07 booster packs. You will build 40 cards deck as opposed to standard format 50. You can use as many copies of a card as you want. There is no color restriction. You can use any leader that you own or open for your pre-release deck. You must bring your own 10 Dawn cards. So yeah, let's start with the choice of the leader. I suggest picking Eustace Captain Kit from starter deck 2, as his effect is powerful built-in win condition that is always available to you. Advanced players may choose other picks depending on what they open during the event, but you can go wrong with Kit. Moving on to the best card picks and deck building guidance. To perform well in my pre-release events, I follow simple concepts for draft deck building from Magic the Gathering. However, I adjusted them to One Piece card game card pool. When you open your packs, try to separate your cards into categories to narrow down the best choices. 3 pillars of any pre-release deck: 2k counters, blockers, and characters that affect the game state. Let's start with defensive options. 2k counters. They are one of the most important resources in this environment. If you notice that your opponent is lacking them, you can attack for 6k to punish them. But the same can be done to you, so it's important to include as much as possible in your deck. As opposed to previous sets, this time we have a lot of 2k counters in common spot, so it should be easy to build a deck with healthy amount of them. Uncommon and rare 2k counters have some niche utility, but at least 4-cost characters have 5k attack, so in case you don't need them as 2k counter, you can always play them and have attacker without Dawn commitment next turn. In the super rare slot we have Sanji that also is a blocker, however in my opinion most of the time we will use him only as 2k counter, as his effect is hard to use in pre-release environment. But 2k counters are not the only strong defensive option. It's always good to have a blockers. The easiest one to get should be Aladdin in common spot. 5-cost 6k power blocker brings a lot of value and forces your opponent to invest Dawn into his attacks. In the uncommon slot we have a mix-up of champ blockers and 6k power blockers. If you are looking for more utility, most of the rare blockers bring useful effects for pre-release games. Karina brings on-play reduction to trade into opponents' rested characters easier or set them up for removal. Baccarat transforms bricks in your hand into 2k counters. Urush restands one of your Dawn cards at the end of turn to make use of Events or Bonnie's effect if you choose to play her as your leader. Ace is 6k power blocker and helps you filter useless cards from your hand. Margaret draws you a card and Chopper is just cute. But the real bomb is in super rare slot. Basil Hawkins. If you choose to play Kit or Bonnie leader, Hawkins is one of the best cards to open. 6-cost 7k power blocker plus his effect makes him basically stick on board until end of the game. We have a lot of defensive options, but now let's speak about bread and butter of every pre-release deck. Vanilla stats characters. Currently the best Dawn to power ratio. On top of that, each vanilla character card has 1k counter. We have some exceptions like Fuza and Mihawk in common slot, where a card with vanilla stats has no counter due to having an effect. Keep in mind that all of vanilla cards are in common slot, so it's really easy to get a solid foundation for your deck. Most of them are on even curve, so it's preferable to go second in all pre-release matches to drop them on curve. Additionally, we have 2 powerful characters with vanilla stats in super rare slot. Lilith replaces itself if you are able to find Egghead character in top 5 cards, which should be quite easy to do. But the real bomb is Boa Hancock that not only has a vanilla stat line but also prevents an attack from one of your opponent's characters. Win is only one in this set and it's Boa. Next we have another pillar of pre-release decks, cards that affect the board state. In common slot, all characters except Morgans have solid Dawn to power ratio and can attack without Dawn investment. Blue gem is good charm blocker removal or even higher stated characters if you can pair him with reducers. Edward Weevil helps you to filter your cards and prepare for the next turn draws. Morgans might be a controversial choice here, but in pre-release format there is always some slots that you fill with filler cards with counter. I think Morgan's effect might come handy in pre-release where you can't fully read opponent's hand as there is no color restriction for leaders. Worst case scenario, it's a 1k counter. Last in common slot is Jimbe, 5 cost 6k power character that if you are lucky enough to trigger returns 4 cost or less character and goes to your hand. Amazing value. That being said, remember to attack with your characters first, especially when going for lethal, to not lose to Jimbe trigger. In uncommon slot we have Atlas that should stick on your board until end of the game due to her effect. But the real bombs are in rare and super rare slots. Outlook third is amazing reducer. Fisher Tiger has rush into opponent's characters. Zombie Luffy is amazing to clear charm blockers and can push a lot of damage. Rob Lucci is well stated hand hate. Lucy is full of utility, card draw and 4 cost or less character rest, and all of this when attacking. Dragon, amazing rush character that on play lets you use 2 rested Dawn cards. Bonnie can freeze rested character for a turn, Hawkins the strongest blocker if you play Kid or Bonnie leader. Boa Hancock prevents 1 character from attacking. Stussy can KO anything, and Rocket Luffy is a character that can attack, then sack itself to KO and even draw you a card. Not to mention removal trigger. There are also 2 secret rare characters in this set. Probability is low that you will open them, but if you do, and are able to play them during the game, it's pretty much game over for your opponent. On top of that, we have a lot of useful events in this set, but don't put too many in your deck as you mostly win due to characters on board. Events should complement your deck and not be a win condition. Here I listed the events that I would pick. Match them to your needs and what your deck is lacking. Finally, if you are super lucky and open any SP or TR cards, each of them is worth playing except Izo. If after picking all these strong picks presented in this video, you still have free spots in your deck, as a rule of thumb, pick cards with counter that can attack without Dawn commitment between 4 and 6 cost. That's it for today. Let me know in the comments how your pre-release went. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more One Piece content. Bye bye.